What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TheSlamDuncan YouTube channel. I really want to talk about the Bulls' 38th overall pick in this year's draft, Ayo Dosunmu. This is honestly, in my opinion, a really great pick by Karnisovas. A lot of people, especially Bulls Twitter, was either loving the pick or hating the pick. I want to kind of break it down to tell you guys why I love this pick. I want to break down what Ayo Dosunmu did in college, kind of show you some highlights, and I also want to talk about some other news that we got today, which is about Markkanen has been given the qualifying offer by the Chicago Bulls and what that means for the Bulls once we head into the offseason, which really starts on August 2nd. So only a few days away. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about Ayo Dosunmu, Chicago's very own. Welcome home, Ayo. As a person that does not watch college basketball, I do not know a lot about him. So you can either take my opinion with a grain of salt, or you can really take it, and put it into your memory. But I have done a little bit of, watching his highlights. I've looked at his stats and everything, and I did listen to both Karnisovas and Ayo talk last night on Bulls TV Live. So I heard what people had to say about him. I heard himself talk, and I do have a little bit of film on him, and I do want to make a video eventually kind of breaking down Ayo Dosunmu's entire, film and for college, kind of like what I did with Patrick Williams last year. And kind of show you guys what I think he can do and what he needs to work on. But I do want to talk about, first off, the opinion of, do we draft? Why is this a good move? Why is this a bad move? We shouldn't have drafted him, or we should have drafted him. I personally think this is a great pick because I think Ayo should have gone in the first round. Now, the way I go into a draft, and this is just the way I go into it, is I look at drafting the best player available. And you can formulate who you think the best player is based on potential or, right now skill, right? It's all based on you. But at the end of the day, I think you need to take the best player available. I'll give you a great example of this. 1984 draft, Portland Trail Blazers, they passed on Michael Jordan. They picked Sam Bowie because they thought, oh, Michael Jordan won't fit into our roster. That's just not how you should think. You need to draft the best player available. I think the Trailblazers should have drafted Michael Jordan, played him at center. It doesn't matter. You need to draft the best player available. And, we have a shooting guard already on this roster named Zach LaVine. He's an all-star. But just because Ayo's a shooting guard and Zach LaVine's a shooting guard doesn't mean that we shouldn't take him. Like, oh, he won't fit into the roster. We'll figure out how he fits in this roster later on. It doesn't matter how he fits in this roster. It matters if he's the best player available or not. And I believe Ayo should have went into the first round. Teams let him go. He fell to the second round, and he's coming home back to Chicago, playing for the Chicago Bulls. I think this is going to be a great story for this entire, his entire career if he stays on the Bulls. But overall, what this shows is that Karnisovas is doing his homework. As the way I went into this draft looking at this Bulls team is that if you have the 38th overall pick, you need to like 38 guys. And what I mean by that is you don't know who's going to fall, right? So even though you have a second round pick, you should not just be looking at second round, projected picks, right? You shouldn't just be interviewing or working out second round projected picks, right? You need to be working out a lot of guys, maybe even guys that are supposed to go into the lottery. You do not know how far some guys will fall. It's the NBA draft. Things happen like that. Quick decisions need to be made, and some guys could fall. Ayo Dosunmu fell. He should have probably went in the 20s, maybe even earlier than that, but he fell to the second round, and Karnisovas did his homework. They worked him out, they interviewed him, and they liked him. And they believed at that very moment that he was the best player available, and they took him. And that's the reason why I think this is a great pick. Now, you could have an argument against my opinion. There were some other first-round projected guys that fell to the second round. Jared Butler is another example. But the reason why I'm not, really going like crazy about Jared Butler, as he was supposed to go maybe 19th, maybe a little bit earlier, but I'm not going crazy about Jared Butler. I know this team needs a point guard desperately, but that is a lot to put on a rookie point guard that coming right out of college, and this team desperately needs a point guard. Throw him into the fire immediately. I just don't know how that's going to really work out. I think Ayo Dosunmu is a better player than Jared Butler as I speak right now. But obviously, that's just looking at my very little college film of his and what I've heard from him. But overall, I do think that Ayo Dosunmu was a great pick by Karnisovas. I know some people are very upset by the pick and some people love it, but I do think this was a great pick. I don't know what he's going to turn out to be. I honestly don't. But I think he can actually contribute this year as I start to, move into how he's going to fit into this team. First off is the contract. And I do want to kind of point out that the Bulls did not make a move into the first round, while a lot of Bulls fans are screaming at Karnisovas, it's like, why aren't you getting into the first round? You can get one of those, last, late 20 picks or something like that. And I even suggested, trade Satoransky for, one of Brooklyn's 27th or 29th picks because they need a point guard desperately. But you have to understand, all you Bulls fans right now, you guys want Lonzo Ball. I'm not a person that really wants Lonzo. I would really prefer DeJounte Murray, but you guys are saying upgrade a point guard position. We need Lonzo Ball. We want Lonzo in Chicago. And the only way to get Lonzo into Chicago is if the Bulls have cap space, unless they do a sign trade with Markkanen. But the best way to do it for them is to get cap space. And if you trade Satoransky and his non-guaranteed $5 million and his guaranteed $5 million, for a first round pick, you are taking money back. You have to pay that first round pick guaranteed money. So it's not exactly smart, especially knowing that you have to pay Marcus Simonovic, who was the second round pick last year. Not only that, you have to pay now Ayo Dosunmu, who was your second round pick this year. You already have to pay guys. And Karnisovas, who's trying to make moves this offseason, does not want to take on more salary. That's the reason why the Bulls did not move up into the first round at all last night, because getting a first round pick means you have to give that person money. And the Bulls just have limited cap space right now. They need as much cap space as possible. That, $3 or $2 million, however much that would be for a late 20s first round pick, that could mean the difference between maybe a Torrey Craig or not getting a Torrey Craig, right? So it's important to keep that money. But looking at how Ayo Dosunmu is going to fit with this Bulls team, here's the contract situation for him. This is kind of, laying out what is the best idea for the Bulls, which is, by the way, follow Ryan here. He's a great Bulls GM. He understands the salary cap better than anyone and what the Bulls should be doing in terms of salaries. But this is his opinion of what the contract should be for Ayo Dosunmu. He points out a big thing right here, which is you want to have bird rights on this guy. Now, reminder, a second round pick, if you're picked in the second round, you do not have that 2 years guaranteed and then third and fourth year options like you do in the first round with your contract, right? A second round pick, you get to negotiate this contract, right? And for the Bulls to get bird rights on Ayo Dosunmu, which is very important, they want to at least sign him to a 3-year deal. And what Ryan here is saying is maybe have the third year be non-guaranteed. Maybe it's a team option or whatever, right? But at least you have to sign him to a 3-year deal to get bird rights on him, which is very, very important. And then he's saying, or 4 years, and then the last year be a team option, which is where he's eligible to be a pro, 4-year pro status. So this is what we're looking at for Ayo Dosunmu. This is not that much money for this year. This is less than $1 million. So again, saving that cap space, which is very important, right? So this is just kind of what I'm looking at right here. And then, again, he can then go into restricted free agency much later on. But the Bulls can either use cap space or they can use the mid-level exception to sign him. I'm going to guess that Marcus Simonovic is probably going to be signed with the mid-level exception. So probably looking at cap space for Ayo Dosunmu. Just letting you guys know, this is kind of what we're thinking for his first NBA contract. But going on to Ayo Dosunmu as the player, Ayo Dosunmu is a very combo guard type player. As you can see, he can score very well. My page is glitched. He averaged 20 points per game last year. He shot it very efficiently, 48% overall, 39 from three-point range, which is a big jump up from 29% the previous year. He is a junior right now, or was a junior, I should say. He is 6'5", 200, so he is definitely has a combo guard type body. But I do think his body is a little bit more developed than some other guys. He definitely can score very, very well. And I think the best comparison, in my opinion, right now, and I'm not saying he's ever going to become this player when I say this, just his style of game just looks very similar to this player. I think he looks a lot like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I consider a very smooth player. He doesn't play very fast. He plays under control. And Shai has a very weird jump shot, but when you watch Shai, he isn't going to be very explosive, right? He's going to take his time, he's going to be very crafty, and he's going to, really pick apart the defense, but be patient, right? And Shea, he's just not that fast. He doesn't have that quick athleticism, right? But Shea still can score really, really well in today's game because he understands his moves and his fundamentals are very, very smooth. And I consider Ayo Dosunmu kind of similar to Shea, but I think he has a little bit more explosiveness than Shea. And we're going to see him obviously be more in a catch and shoot role for this Bulls team. As I do think he's going to get minutes both at the PG, but also at the 2 guard, potentially even the 3. As I do think that he is a very underrated defender. I mean, we talk about his 20 points per game, but I think he's actually already a pretty solid defender. I'm not saying he's going to be the best defender on this team, but he can definitely play defense, and I think he'll fit perfectly in the Billy Donovan system. And he could be used for some switch coverages. He can guard probably multiple positions as well, 6'5", right? So I'm liking him already just from in terms of his body and looking at his college stats as well. He also averaged a steal per game at college. But main thing that Karnisovas talked about in his press conference was his versatility. And as you can see, he wasn't just a scorer, but he averaged 6 rebounds and 5 assists per game. So he is also a playmaker. And I want to really kind of show you something here. In this, I'm just going to play, I think, about 40 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. And we can break this down later in a different video. But just watch just a couple of his plays here as he, as I said earlier, he's going to be probably in like a catch and shoot role for this Bulls team to at least start with. But as you can see right here, just watch him catch and shoot. Pretty quick release, right? Also pretty good arc on the shot. So, it's not like Shea. Like Shea's release is really slow, which kind of gets him in trouble a little bit, right? But his release is very quick. Good foundation for his shot. Gets it right off. Bang. That's a catch and shoot, right? But this is where I really want to talk about Ayo here, because this is where I think he can definitely flourish. With Kobe White having, shoulder surgery, and I think Ayo's kind of signaling that Satoransky's probably either going to get waived or traded, as the Bulls are probably going to upgrade the point guard position this offseason. I think Ayo can definitely, if Kobe White's not 100% to start the season, or, maybe just right off the bat, he could be ready to come in and be a spark plug for this second unit, because I think Ayo Dosunmu is a very good pick and roll player. And it's not just for him to score, he is also a very good playmaker in the pick and roll. He's able to find guys in the pick and roll. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be a point guard, right? He may not have that vision of a point guard or understand the game like a point guard, but he can find open guys in the pick and roll. But the main thing also is that he is able to score out of the pick and roll. As we see atop the key, simple pick and roll here, just watch him turn the corner here. This is something that I talk about with Lonzo Ball, which is why I don't think Lonzo should be the point guard for the Bulls, because Lonzo has a very tough time making this type of play. Lonzo cannot turn that corner off a pick and roll and collapse the defense, or make that turn and score at the rim, right? But Ayo has this ability already, as you can see. He comes off that pick and roll. He's able to already draw 2 guys onto him, and we're talking about the free throw line here, and he's able to get past the big man and score, right? And this is, I still think in just that play, that's a little bit more explosive than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so he's not going to be as slow, right? But other things I want to show you is just, again, his catch and shoot ability. We talk, looking at a guy that scores, 20 points per game in college, you would think, oh, he has the ball in his hands a lot. Or can he play off ball? Because, he's not going to be the main scorer for this Bulls team. You got Zach LaVine as well, so, Zach's going to be handling the ball a lot, right? Can he effectively play the off guard position or be off ball and have a big impact on the game? And I say that he can. Just looking at this fast break opportunity for Illinois, he's able to catch the ball at the wing here off fast break. Bang. Illinois gets in there a steal right here. And who do they go back to for a catch and shoot opportunity? They hand it off to him, to Ayo, and another catch and shoot 3. So this is something, again, like this is important to keep in mind. He isn't just a guy that needs the ball in his hands and dribble to find a shot. He can easily get to his shot if it's just a simple catch and shoot situation, which is definitely going to be helpful for the Bulls, as the Bulls need 3-point shooting desperately. But other thing, too, is that he's not just like a Kyle Korver out there, right? A guy who can only shoot the 3. He is very versatile. So I expect him to actually have multiple opportunities and multiple different roles for this Bulls team. So I'm really liking this pick. He is a Chicago product. I don't think he's going to become Derrick Rose, all right? But I do think that he is going to be a pretty solid player, and this is the reason why, we keep second round picks. This is important. Karnisovas keeps second round picks. Garpax did not. And this is the reason why. You can find guys who fall out of the first round who probably should have been picked in the first round, like Ayo Dosunmu, and pick him in the second round. Not only that, he was picked in the middle of a commercial, which if you guys know, you know. So that's all I have to say about Ayo Dosunmu. I really overall like this pick. I think he's going to come in and actually have an immediate impact on the Bulls, barring, if, let's say, they get an extra point guard this offseason. But I do expect him to be on the bench, and I expect him to have some opportunities this season. Maybe not play every game, but if he shows, maybe early that he can have an immediate impact, he will play on this team. I do think he's already a pretty solid defender, and can handle and defend multiple positions for this team. So I love this pick by Karnisovas. Karnisovas was shocked that he was still there at 38. I think Karnisovas did his homework, and he did a great job picking Ayo Dosunmu at 38 overall. Now, that's all I have for Ayo Dosunmu. Lastly, I want to talk about what we got news today for the Bulls, which is Lauri Markkanen was offered the qualifying offer by the Bulls. And what does this mean for the Bulls? As I immediately saw some stupid reactions on Twitter from Bulls Nation saying that, why are we keeping Lauri? This is stupid. The front office is awful. And this is just casual Bulls fans not understanding basketball, and they don't understand how the NBA works, and they don't understand really anything besides, oh, this player sucks and this player is good. That's just how Bulls fans are, unfortunately. But the Bulls giving the qualifying offer to Markkanen means this. They are not keeping him. They can keep him, but this does not mean that they are for sure bringing him back. The Bulls can't offer this to him because this makes him a restricted free agent. If they do not offer this to him, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. The difference between unrestricted and restricted means if Markkanen is given an offer in restricted free agency, the Bulls have 2 days, I believe, to match that offer. If they match that offer, right, and this offer is given by another team, if they match that offer, he comes back to the Bulls. In unrestricted free agency, a player has every right to go wherever the heck they want to. They can sign whatever contract, and they go to that team. So, the reason why this is important is because the Bulls have a lot of options with Markkanen here. Now, I don't think he's coming back. That's just me personally. I think it's kind of been shown, especially when he went to the bench at the end of last season, that he is probably not coming back this season. Or for next season, excuse me. But giving him this qualifying offer allows the Bulls to sign and trade Markkanen. So if, let's say, the Lonzo deal happens, which every Bulls fan wants, you can sign and trade Lauri Markkanen to the New Orleans Pelicans, and then we get Lonzo Ball back in that trade. It would be a sign and trade for the Pelicans as well as they trade Lonzo Ball. Okay? This allows us to stay over the cap, and also a bigger mid-level exception if we decide to be an over-the-cap team. But this is just one of the ways of getting Lonzo Ball, which is every Bulls fan's dream right now. The other thing that they can do is, let's say the Bulls decide, okay, we want to clear out as much cap space because we want to make a run at guys, maybe, I don't know who, but Kyle Lowry, for example, Mike Conley. There's other guys out there as well. I mean, maybe they trade for Jalen Brunson. But anyway, if they want to bring in some other free agents, right, and they need to clear cap space, they can take away this qualifying offer at any point that they want to. And that alone clears up Lauri Markkanen's cap hold on the cap space. And then that makes Markkanen an unrestricted free agent. Okay? This, just because the Bulls offered this qualifying offer to Markkanen, does not mean that he is coming back. Now, the one thing that can for sure guarantee that Markkanen will be coming back to the Bulls this season is if he accepts the qualifying offer. The qualifying offer, if you do not know, is a 1-year deal. And it's not that much money. But the player has every right to sign this deal, which is a 1-year deal. And they go back to the team that gave them the qualifying offer, which is the Bulls in this case. But in this 1-year deal, there is a no-trade clause. So if Markkanen really wanted to hit unrestricted free agency next offseason, he can accept his qualifying offer and go back to the Bulls, and the Bulls cannot trade him unless he says so. But that's the only way that guarantees that Markkanen will be back on this Bulls team. Now, I do expect Markkanen to get up a lot of offers this free agency, as a lot of teams have cap space. So I do not expect Markkanen to take this 1-year qualifying offer and go back to the Bulls. He can definitely get paid this offseason, especially because teams want 3-point shooting. But I don't think the Bulls are going to keep him. I think they either sign and trade him for whoever, maybe DeJounte Murray. I would love DeJounte Murray on this Bulls team. Or they take away the qualifying offer, release his cap hold, and they get money in the cap space because they released him, or release his cap hold. So, again, one more time, they did not say, hey, we're bringing you back, Markkanen. This is just so it gives the Bulls options if they want to sign and trade him, or they could just take his qualifying offer away and say goodbye, okay? This does not mean that Markkanen is staying on the Bulls, for all you Bulls fans that were freaking out. So, this is expected. This was 100% expected today. I would have been shocked if Kardashevis did not give Markkanen a qualifying offer. Maybe the best case scenario, honestly, is that you sign and trade Markkanen, which means that you at least get value back for Markkanen, right? So that's all that's happened with this. I believe Devon Dotson, if I'm not mistaken here, was also offered the qualifying offer, so he's also a restricted free agent. If you did not know, Dotson was on a 2-way deal last year. He's a point guard. And I expect him to be back probably on another 2-way deal if possible. If not, he might be back just for depth, honestly. So that's all I have for you guys today. So that's my thoughts on Ayo Dosunmu and just letting you guys know what it means for Markkanen to get that qualifying offer. But overall, I love the pick by Kardashevis for Dosunmu. I love to see his reaction as he is coming back to play for his hometown. And the Bulls have options now, giving Markkanen that qualifying offer so he hits restricted free agency. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.